I was an ICM agent briefly back in the day. But since then, I have tried to live a good life. The late, great Frank Pearson, former Academy president who Billy mentioned, and the Oscar-winning screenwriter, was fond of saying that every would-be screenwriter ought to have experienced a couple of failed marriages and a short term in prison. Sean Robert Daniels has had none of these, but nevertheless has led an adventurous life. From his home near Johannesburg, South Africa, where he lives with his girlfriend, 5 cats, and 2 dogs, Sean has traveled the world, hitting all of the continents, including Antarctica, where he spent some time on an island with himself and 100,000 penguins. His lifetime passion for movies of all kinds, across all genres, led him to become first a film student, then a filmmaker, producing and directing his own screenplay for an all-in budget of $35,000, which he tells me goes further in South Africa. Then Sean became a film teacher at the Open Window School of Visual Communication. Now his screenplay, Killers, has earned him one of this year's Academy Nicholl Fellowships in Screenwriting. It's a true pleasure for me, on behalf of the Nicholl Committee, to present the fellowship to him and him to you. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean Robert Daniels.
I think standing in front of 100,000 penguins was a little easier than this. I do apologize for taking half a second to catch my heart and slow it down for 1 second. Yeah. Okay. I think to warm myself up, I shared this with the committee, but one of the difficulties that you mentioned with writing was I'd written the first 40 pages of this screenplay when my house was robbed and the computers were stolen and every single copy that I owned of this script was taken. So before I sat down and phoned the police, I had to write probably what is the first outline I ever wrote in my life, trying to recall what I had been writing the night before, so that when I picked myself up from that, I could get back to writing the screenplay. And I think that was probably one of the hardest parts of the script. This has been one of the most amazing weeks of my life, I can truly say that. When I thanked Greg for everything that has happened, he said in his, I guess, typical fashion that he was just doing his job. Well, let me just say that if everyone just did their job the same way Greg and Joan do, this world would be a far, far better place. And I think it goes unsaid that the word thanks just loses all meaning in a week like this, but thank you again very much. In the same manner, I think my story is very much a lot about what happens to people when you don't have a supportive family and the damage that can do to you. And I know that matricide and euthanasia is a lot of what my story is about, so I think it was important I brought my father just to show that there's at least one surviving member of the family. I am extremely lucky to have the family I do, but my definition of family has changed this week. First of all, I'm very proud to have my father here. He likes to say that he was only involved at the beginning of all this, the pre-production with my mother. I don't think I need to go further into that. And that's his modest way. But, I mean, if if he hadn't taken me to watch Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade when I was 7, none of this would have happened. Admittedly, he had named me after Sean Connery, he, being the James Bond fan that he is. And then he supported me to study in Australia. Admittedly, my parents also divorced when I was very young, and their little negotiation was when I wanted to do theatre instead of filmmaking. And I remember telling both of them that I wanted to write for theatre. And my father went, well, that's interesting. But do you think you could do a double degree? Maybe with accountancy. And then the next day when I told my mother, hoping for some more support, I went, she went, well, what about a double degree, Sean? With journalism. So when I told them that I wanted to do film, they were behind me all the way. And they sent me off to Australia. I wish my darling Kate could be here. Obviously, I think the 5 cats and the 2 dogs would be a little much on the stage, but she is my home and I miss her. I wish my students could be here, simply because their raw excitement, their love for film, their thirst for knowledge, and their absolute enthusiasm energizes me every day that I work with them. I'm extremely thankful to the Nicholl Committee, the Academy Nicholl Fellowship Committee. I didn't realize it at the time, but I've come to know this week that you have given me yet another part to my family. Writing, I think, is perhaps one of the most terrifying and still one of the most loneliest jobs that still has a certain magic to it. And writing, especially in a country like South Africa, with the film industry have, despite the exchange rate, is a very, very lonely job indeed. But this week has banished much of that loneliness, and I would like to thank you all. Thank you.